All right, last part I want to touch on some antitrust laws and technology here real quick. Before I do that, I want to talk about two terms. There are two prefixes that I want to deal with, the word inter and the word intra. Inter, I-N-T-E-R, means what? Like the internet, means between computers. Interstate, between states. So the prefix inter means between. The prefix intra means inside of, right? Like an intranet is one that's only inside of one company. So the thing I want to tell you about what we're getting ready to talk about here, these antitrust laws are okay intra-company, but not inter-company. So inside of my own company, these laws are okay. I can do this. But inter-company, between companies, it is illegal. So let me give you an example. The first one's price fixing. Price fixing. In my company, I can call all of my agents and say, this is my company. We now charge 10% commission to list a house. You don't like it? Go find another company. That's legal because it's intra-company. It's within my own company. What I cannot do is call the managing brokers for all the other real estate companies on the south side and say, hey, if we all start charging 10%, we can run the market up and artificially inflate our commission to 10%. But RE/MAX has to do it, Tucker has to do it, Coldwell Banker, everybody, and I would call all the companies to do that. That is price fixing. That's illegal. It's illegal between the companies. If you guys remember several years ago, International, was it IMI, Irving Materials, and all the quick concrete companies got caught doing this. All the concrete owners were meeting at a horse barn in Anderson, and they all colluded to start charging a higher price, and if they all did it, then the consumers would have to pay the money, and they would all make millions of dollars more. That's illegal. You cannot do that. That's called price fixing. All right? I can do it inside of my company, and somebody asked that question earlier, is there a minimum level that I set? I can in my company. I can say it's 8% or more. But I can't call the Paul Caldwell up there and Andy Dittmeyer and those guys and say, hey, if you guys do it too, we'll raise our prices, make more money. That's illegal, price fixing. Very similar to that is group boycotting. One of the other things they can't say with price fixing is the going rate. If someone says, what do you list? Well, the going rate's 7%, so I'll charge you 6%. That's a violation. You don't know what the going rate is. You got to call everybody. Obviously, Chavez knows a guy that does it for 2%. That's the guy we're going to start hiring here lately. All right? Group boycotting is the same thing. It's where all of us conspire to not use a specific company with the intent of running them out of business. Once again, in my company, I can do that. If I say I do not want you to use XYZ title company because I don't like them or trust them or they do a bad job, that's fine. But I can't call all the brokers on the south side and say, let's run XYZ out of business by never using them again and boycotting their service. That's a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. That's group boycotting. We cannot intentionally not use someone and collude together to do it. Now, if their services suck, and they charge a high price, and each company voluntarily decides not to use them, and they go out of business, that's all on them. All right? But we can't collude to boycott them. And everybody knows what boycott means? Boycott means you are not using them on purpose, intentionally not using them. The allocation of customers. I cannot ask Andy, who works up in Cicero, hey, you get a customer south of 96th Street, give them to me, and I'll give you anybody north of 96th Street. No, someone north of 96th Street may want a Southside agent because they're moving down here. But inside of my business, if I get a phone call that says, I live in Franklin, Indiana, I want to sell my house, I can say, oh, I want to give you to my agent that lives in Franklin. Inside of my business, it's okay. Or Avon, oh, I've got an agent that lives in Avon, I'll give you to that one, instead of giving you to the one that lives in Fishers. I can do that in mine. I can't conspire with all the brokers to do that. Tie-in commission, or a tying agreement, as sometimes you hear it called. A tie-in agreement is one where you force someone to buy the pit before you'll sell them the cherry. All right? In the real estate world, the most common one is, I will only list your house if I get to be your buyer on the other side. You're tying one deal to another. If someone says, well, I'm using my brother to buy, well, then I am not listing your house. That's a tie-in agreement. No one in their right mind would ever do that, because at least they would take one deal. This is virtually saying, if I don't get both, I'm not taking any of them. You're tying one deal to the other. I'll do one only if I get the other. Violation of these rules can be up to $1 million fine and 10 years in jail. So imagine that. Two guys are sitting in their cell, and one guy's, oh, what are you in for? Murder. What are you in for? Tie-in agreement. Da-da-da. If you go to court and you win, you can actually be recompensated what they call treble damages. That means triple. You can recover triple times what you're harmed, plus your court costs. They do that so there is an incentive to sue, by the way. If you only got back what you lost, it may not be worth it. So you can get back triple your damages plus the court costs if you think you are been a victim of the tie-in agreement. Or of any of the violations. There's a situation right now I'm involved in another business I own, that I honestly believe I am a victim of the law. So I have attached an attorney already, and literally he's like, this is a federal court out of the gate. I need a $10,000 retainer. I'm like, ooh, let me call you back. All right?
So anytime it's the antitrust act, it's a federal?
It's a federal court case. It's a federal law. The Sherman Antitrust Act deals with the fair practice of business.
And that was for brokers and clients?
Clients could sue, yes, if they believe that they have been a victim of price fixing because all of the agencies have gotten together and conspired to raise it to 12%. They could sue the real estate commission and say, you have allowed price fixing, that's a violation. Yes. I am not a practicing attorney. Let me start by saying that. That should have been the first thing. All right. Technology. On page 142. I will tell you right now that technology is a hard section to teach on, because literally by the time you take your test, it's going to change. Technology doubles every other day. Matter of fact, just in the last 3 months, MyBore has a new app now called HomeSnap. We now use this one called HomeSnap. All right? We use this thing called an IDX, an Internet Data Exchange. If you guys have ever seen an agent that has all the MLS on their personal website, that's an IDX. We use that here. All right? It allows for people to search my site rather than go to MyBor and search it, and they have to opt in, and they can opt out and unsubscribe from emails and all that. This allows us now to actually post all of the MLS data on my personal site so that I can try and get as many people over to my personal site so they're all using Raymond. That way when they think about it, they're like, who was that agent again? It was Raymond, I better call him. That's one of the ways that you guys can market yourself to get known. Just put an IDX on there and you start, oh, search the whole MLS. Go to raymondmodulin.com and look for your house. And when you find it, guess who you hope they're going to call? Raymond Modulin, because that's whose site they're on. So we have these things called Internet Data Exchange, or IDXs. Who in here does not own a smartphone? Anybody? This is a pretty young crowd. I guess everybody does, right? I dealt with a person the other day who still had a flip phone. Dealt with a gentleman the other day who said he didn't even own a computer. And I told him, I said, this is probably not the career that you want to use. All right? Now with smartphones and all of that, we can get online. Matter of fact, my smartphone, I got the 7 Plus, the big one. I literally can do most of the school stuff on my phone. And last night, I was sitting there. Who's taking the test? 3 or 4 people that said incomplete, which means you hadn't even started the test at 11 p.m. And you 4 shall remain nameless. But I know who you are. And with that smartphone comes all kinds of other features like texting at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know who you are. So we get emails and texting. A lot of times agents now communicate that way. The good thing about texting is it allows you to do 30 things at once, right? Talking to one of my agents, I can text, talk back to my agent, drive my car, text. No. Don't text and drive. I used to text and drive and I kept spilling my beer. So I had to quit texting. I couldn't hold through. It's hard to hold a Budweiser between your knees and text and drive. So I said, screw the texting. Priorities. Yeah. If you've got a smartphone, you don't know what it does, time to sit down and learn what it does. All right? Now with apps and zip forms, we can do almost all of it on our phone. And we can send it to our client on their phone through an email. It'll say, hey, go sign this form. Remember I told you it has to have 2 copies for a listing and 4 copies, and then we went to this fax machine, and then you had 8 copies because you had the one that you sent, which wasn't signed, but the one they sent back, which is now signed. So now we've gone the other way. Now with some of the new electronic signature stuff that we have, before you print it out, everybody signs it. There's one called Dot Loop, one called Zip Forms, all of these. You fill it out on your computer. I email it to Min. Min pulls it up, electronically signs it, emails it back to me. I email it to the other side. They send it over to their person who electronically signs it, and it's accepted, and they send it back to me. And we have no copies. Now it's all kept electronically. All right? My company is an electronically based technology company. Obviously, you guys understand that I'm in the technology business. So one of the things we use is all of that. Anybody here use Slack? See, we use Slack all the time. That's a group chat, so to speak. So I've got certain people on chats, and we got groups where we can talk to certain groups. I do all our pay through direct deposit. All my guys have to have a bank account. I pay them directly. No more checks. I don't write. They upload all the closing stuff. We keep it in the cloud. Everything's kept in the cloud. We are virtually a paperless office. But I would consider myself a technology person. Social media. If you don't know how to use social media, you better learn. Next month, I think I told you that I'm teaching at the ARIBA meeting, the Independent Brokers Association. I am teaching a class on social media. How to use social media to drive people to your page so that you get their email And you guys need to learn how to do all of that as well. Give out the free report. How to sell your house, 10 ways to sell your house faster. Click on it for a free report. They click on it for the free report. You capture their email address. You send them the report. Now you've got a list of email addresses that you start sending out to. Hey, I'm an agent. When you need somebody, call me. And you guys are all victims of this drip campaign concept. You guys do it all the time. Sign up at Lowe's, sign up at the movie theater, and they send you the emails. You guys are going to start doing that, or you should. Internet advertising, you got to be careful with, because remember, you guys have to make sure that you represent me even on the internet. So when you have a web page, you might have hollydoesrealestate.com, but somewhere on there it's got to have the moduling group so that they know you're attached to the moduling group with a link back to the moduling group's homepage. All right? Same thing with all your posting. If you post on social media like a realtor, you have to make sure they know you're a realtor, all right? And I'm a big advocate of having a personal web page and a business web page. First of all, doing business on your personal page is a violation of Facebook's rules. I don't think they've ever stuck to it, but it's out there, all right? I call that the jaywalking rule. The jaywalking rule means there's a rule that says you can't jaywalk. Police really probably wouldn't arrest you for it. But if you get hit by a car while jaywalking, and you go, oh, I got hit by a car, they're going, yeah, but you were jaywalking, violating the rule. All right? Same thing with this. And you want to keep your Facebook separate, by the way. Not only is it illegal to do business or against their rules, you don't want your business mixing with your personal life. All right? Especially around politic time, when you start posting stuff on your politics, and someone goes, well, they're liberal, I'm conservative. I'd never use them as my agent. Oop, you just shot yourself in the foot. Religion, that's another good one. You would do it on your personal, and on your business page is, hey, Raymond the Realtor, best realtor ever, call me 4.5%. That's what you do over there, all right? So be careful on your social media advertising and your internet advertising. You got to make sure that you put your name there. You got to make sure you put my name there. You got to make sure that they know that you're an agent, all kinds of stuff. The new thing now is this electronic contracting. Electronic contracting. You know when you guys go into Walmart and you put your credit card, then you sign your name? That is coming, mark my words, to this industry. They will soon allow electronic contracting. Currently, they still like what they call the wet signature, meaning they actually want your signature on the paper. Trust me, this will be here in the next 5 to 10 years. And what you'll end up seeing is now you guys will close and not even leave your house. You know, you're going to get on a video chat, and you're going to be sitting at your house, and I'll be sitting, your agent, I'm sitting in my office, and they're sitting somewhere, and we'll be able to see each other in the video chat, and you're going to touch the screen and do the electronic signature and print it out at your house. It's coming. It'll be here. That's my prediction. All right? You guys ever done that? I've done that before all the time. You get to Walmart, and you sign your name on the credit card. I always write, hi, Mom. And that counts as your signature, by the way. And there's a couple Uniform Electronic Transaction acts that says a contract cannot be not denied if it's legal because the electronic record was used. This is the new rule. So a contract cannot be not denied because it's an electronic signature. So when you sign it electronically, like the Walmart, you can't go, well, that's not really my signature. That's a facsimile of my, no, under the new rules, that's now your signature. Even if you write, hi, Mom. Okay? So that's what this UTA was talking about, or the UETA. So that is coming that will allow you to sign electronically. All right. We're going to move to another.